Hey everybody, welcome back. I hope you're doing great today. Hope you're staying safe with you and your family. Hope you've got lots of food, lots of toilet paper, and I hope everything's great. Have to say that on this side, things are pretty much the same as they've been for the last little while. My garden's growing, spent some time out there today, and things are generally good. I'm really getting into this working from home, and I just find I'm getting more and more organized. So as long as it stays that way, I personally don't have too many complaints. I just plugging away and getting stuff done, fix more things in the house than I probably have ever. Probably fixed more stuff in this house in the last month than I have in the last decade, which is kind of sad, I guess. But nevertheless, it's good in some ways. So today I want to talk about travel deals, both right now that you can look at today, and I think there's some good things to look at, and stuff later. Actually, wait a minute. Let's look at the numbers. I like to look at those numbers every video. So before we get into that, into the deals, let's look at the numbers. So total global deaths, 311, almost 312 now, and that was up from 307 or 307, 307,000, 100,000, sorry. As of yesterday. So that's a jump of about, what's that, 4,000 deaths, which is a slower growth, but still pretty substantial globally. And then we're at 4,634,000 confirmed infected. So pretty big numbers, still growing. I don't really see it slowing down at all. But of course, these numbers, you know, it's hard to gauge, but generally we're still on a growth spurt there, and I don't think we're at the top yet. So hang tight. Hopefully we'll get there soon. So back to the travel deals now and in the future. So if you're not, if this is a new video for you, if you haven't watched any of my other videos, if you're new to this whole thing, please hit subscribe and you'll be alerted to any future videos that come up. And if you like this video, please hit the like button, and that'll tell me what type of content you would like, you prefer. I'm trying to cater to what I see in that feedback. And as you'll see, I repeat some sort of content that you like, and I go deeper into certain areas. So that helps me a lot. Thank you very much in advance. All right, let's get into it. So right now, there's total global chaos, especially in the travel industry. What we see is people are just not traveling at all. And I mean, they're not even leaving their house for the most part. So we should be able to get some amazing deals. That makes sense, right? I would expect that. There are some variables at play here that are preventing the full-out awesome deals that we would expect, but given the timing, it's just going to get better and better. So that's why I titled this Now and Later, because really this is going to be a gradual approach, right? And let's get into that and how I compare it kind of to investing. So, and at the very end of this video, I'm going to show you one of the things that I do to get me free accommodations, not just cheap, but free. And I'm talking 5-star hotels, you know, in Paris, you know, just amazing accommodations, not some cheapo Airbnb flea-infested place. I mean, great place. So if you stick around, I'm going to get to that. That'll be the little treat at the very end, okay? All right, so current status for me, I am watching and waiting and just like a sniper watching each move and trying to pick off the ones that I want for deals on where I want to go. And I've got specific locations in mind. Of course, I have my list, my prioritized list, because I've been sitting at home for, what, 3 months now? So, you know, if you know me, I'm just like ready to go to the airport. So I'm really watching. There is, right now we have the government stimulus with the airlines, and so they're getting some money to do these routes, even though there's nobody on the planes, which has caused some interesting things. It's caused the deals that we would have expected to be delayed. So what we want to do is continue to watch the airlines. Right now, the airlines are not necessarily the best deal in town. There's other things that you want to invest in right now to get those cheap holidays. But for flights, unless you see something new that's just coming out, I would continue to watch that and see what happens. But right now, it's because of the stimulus package, it's not the best deals. So I would approach this like you would approach your portfolio, right? I would look at, you're trying to gauge where the bottom is in this. So where am I going to get the best, cheapest, most awesome deal? Where am I going to get the best, cheapest stock? Because that's kind of in a very similar type of turmoil. And to time the market is very difficult. People always say you can't time the market, but you can put time in the market, meaning just buy stuff and over time it'll probably go up. And that's the same sort of thing here. I would recommend that dollar cost averaging. If you're not familiar with dollar cost averaging, it's the best thing since, what's the other thing? I forget it. It's compound interest is what I'm trying to think of. So really what you're doing is you're buying little bits on the way down, not knowing where the bottom is. And, instead of just missing the bottom, you're picking up bits as it goes. And I think that's a great strategy because I don't know what the market's going to do. Nobody does. So the same thing applies here. So I would pick off areas that you think are good, and whether it be rental cars or RVs or accommodations or flights or whatever. Just look for those that are low, and I'm going to talk about those right now. So when to purchase your tickets, really we're waiting for those the government funding and support to shake loose a little bit for them to get their feedback, to get demand back. As soon as we see demand start to go back, as soon as we start seeing people booking, that's when I would expect those deals to start popping up. How far away is that? Well, we're starting to see some of that already. We're seeing Carnival Cruise Lines, I believe it was, has said in August they're going to start moving again, so you can start buying tickets. I wouldn't necessarily recommend a cruise unless you're really adventuresome, but that is an option for you to think about. So that's, and I think within the next couple of months, we're going to start to see a gradual move in that direction. And all the different airlines are going to start kind of looking at that and figuring out who's going to go first, who's going to try to move with that. So, and then once it starts, it's going to probably happen fairly quickly. And I think you have to think about the industry is going to be going through this huge change. It's going to cost them much more as far as overhead to do flights and to do everything in the holiday industry. So some of those companies are not going to do well with this change. So the risk of losing your money is the other big consideration we have to think about here. So just like the stock market, again, if you're investing in a stock, well, that company could go bankrupt, that stock could go down. Same thing with an airline or a hotel chain or whatever it is. Like, they're not making a lot of money right now. They're probably losing money depending on what industry and company it is. So if you buy your tickets now, 6 months in advance, which I think in some cases that could be a good idea, you have a risk that you could lose it. I think some of these smaller airlines, especially, I mean, it's in the news, there is risk that they could go bankrupt. So, you could possibly lose your money there. So I would look at reputable providers, right? Who is less likely to go bankrupt? And I would probably be investing in them. If you are, one of these high risk people that like, big risk, big reward, then some of the smaller companies may offer you greater benefits, but keep in mind that it's higher risk, right? And I tend to move in that direction a little bit when I think the payoff is going to outweigh the risk. So if you don't mind losing your $1,000 or $500 or whatever it is, then by all means, I think take a look at that. And they're going to be wanting your business pretty soon. So I think that's worth checking out. All right. So the other thing that I think you need to look at really quickly, and this is something you could do today, is look at your credits. So for me, I had flights booked and I couldn't take my flight, and I was really upset about that. And I wanted my money back, and they said, nope, you're not getting your money back, but here's a nice little credit, and we'll give you like 50% of your money back. Better than nothing, right? Because some people lost all their money. And, my apologies to you if that happened to you, but at least I got some credit. But the note on there is, or the risk is, you have to use it by the end of the year. So you've only got 6 months from when you get it. So if this pandemic thing lasts too long, well, we're losing our money. Again, at least it's delayed and we have some hope of using it. But take a look at when those credits expire, if you have those credits, because that's what we want to use as soon as possible, because they're not unlimited time on that. Unlimited time, that doesn't make sense. What's the right word to say that? It's not, there's no expiry date on that credit. So we want to use it as probably as soon as we can. That's what I'm thinking about. Like the first trip I'm on, I'm using those credits so I can get rid of them and I don't lose all that money. So that's what I'm doing. So take a look at what you've got there. Destinations. That's the other big thing to think about here. Okay, so if I want to get a cheap flight or cheap accommodations, that's fine, but keep in mind that, well, A, you don't want to get infected when you go somewhere, so you want to reduce the chance of that probably. And then also when you're going to a place, if nothing's open, how much fun is that going to be? So there's that. And then I want to reduce my risk in some of these places as well. I want to walk around without a mask on if I can. Sometimes it's mandated that I have to wear a mask, and if it's a crowded place, I'm just going to wear a mask, right? So less crowded, population density I want to look at, minimal contact. So if I'm going to go to a beach and it's packed with people, that may not be great if I'm wearing one of those big masks, right? Like that's just not going to be that much fun. So that's probably not the first holiday I'm going to do. I don't know, maybe you go to Alaska, maybe you go to the Amazon. I don't know. Neither of those two places I'm going to go to, but like that might be an idea. I mean, those are like, there's a lot of room to move around. It's not like everybody's packed together. So something like that maybe would be something to think about. And that kind of leads me into the other area, which is the travel method. So if you're going to book a flight and you get a great deal on a flight, that's fine. But when you're on the flight, it's going to be a lot different. You're going to have to wear a mask for that full flight. So if it's an 8-hour flight, I can tell you right now, that is not going to be a lot of fun for your face. I wore the mask when I was traveling. It was about a 3-hour flight. And that mask starts to kind of hurt on your face. So if you're going to do that, think about what that's going to be like. You need to prepare for that. And you could do it. You could totally do it. I will do it. I will wear my mask. I will wear like a whole bodysuit if I need to get on that plane, to go on holiday again, to go to those destinations again. Because to me, it's worth it. But, just be prepared for that. So some other alternatives might be, maybe you're going to take a train instead of a plane. If you're not going across a big ocean, then you could probably train it. If you're in Europe or in Asia, wonderful train system, high speed transit, just phenomenal. So maybe that's what you're going to do. Maybe that's a little safer. If you're in North America, maybe you're going to RV. Maybe you're going to rent a recreational vehicle, like a big bus type thing. That's very comfortable, and you're going to drive around and go to those places within your own country that you've never been to before. I think that's a pretty safe thing to do. And I think a lot of people are going to do that right now. RVs are actually one of the big opportunities as far as financing. So you can get 0% down, 0% financing. That seems pretty good. I know that's not new, not as good as I would expect. I think if we wait a little bit, it probably will get even better. I think you can negotiate a lot with those RVs. I think that if you walk in and sign a non-disclosure and say, hey, I won't tell anybody, but you give me 25% off right now or I'm walking, here's cash, I think you're going to get a good deal, right? And that's just my guess, but I think you're going to get a good deal. The other thing that you could look at is rental cars. Right now, rental cars are dirt cheap, right? So typically rental cars, in my mind, have always been a bit of a ripoff. And I've always, for my personal expense, I'll just get the cheapest possible little tiny, car as cheap as I can for a rental, just because I think you're getting royally ripped off on some of the, and I know it's a hard industry, so, that's fine. But I don't like spending $200 a day on a car. To me, that's just not worth it. So, but right now they're dirt cheap. So if you want to go on a 1-week vacation and you want to drive around to your country or whatever, then I think that's probably not a bad idea, right? You're getting the same car every day. It's yours for a week or 2 weeks or however long you rent it for. Dirt cheap. Like I'm talking, it's cheaper than gas, right? So that's a pretty good option. And you can wipe it down, sanitize it. It's just you and your family in the car. And I think that's a good option, a very good deal right now. I think that the price was just crazy cheap depending on where you are and what company you look at. But go shopping there. I think that if you're dying to go on holiday, go do that, right? Super good deal. Now, accommodations, we're starting to see some movement there. So this is what you want to watch. Pick your hotel chain. If you've got some loyalty points or you're a loyalty customer, then watch your hotel branch or chain of choice and take a look there. If you have a destination in mind, then go on some of those websites that have alerts and take a look at that. Vegas right now usually is very steady as far as price. Usually, year after year how much you're going to be paying. Right now, because Vegas has been shut down for quite a while, you're going to get great deals right now. So if you want to go to Vegas in the next year, go take a look at that. Will it get cheaper? Maybe. They just opened some new hotels there, first time in a while. And I think that this summer they were really banking on having a big customer base. I don't think they will. So I think that, they're going to have some problems there, just like they did in 2008. So I would take a look at that, and you could book those now. And I think, I don't remember the percentage, but I'm thinking it's like 50% off. Take a look and see what you think there. And they will be opening soon. They are fighting as hard as they can to reopen. Is that a good idea? I don't know. But, you'll get deals and you'll probably be able to stay there pretty soon. So that's something to think about. Now, what about the risk? And this is what I always think about, is the reservation risk. What if I spend my money and then I lose it? That's not going to be good, right? And nobody wants that. So I think that there's definitely risk there in some areas, but less risk in others, right? So for example, what does that mean? On hotels, you could book it and cancel it. And I've canceled hotels all day long, and I don't lose any money. And it's fine to do. And you can even call them up and get their policy if you're not familiar with it. But generally, as long as you cancel within a few days before you're supposed to show up, you can do that and not lose any money, which is great, right? So in times like this, I would book and not worry about it. But and so that should be pretty relatively low risk, right? So that's not bad. And I think some other rentals as well, you could do that with. But if you're worried about it, give them a call. Maybe they have new policies. Some of these places might have new policies. Cruise ships, I think that would be a concern. I'm not quite sure what their policy is, but that's something you may want to look into to take a look at that. Now, one other thing I would think about is risk of infection. So this is going to add to your costs. So we're talking about discounts and getting deals. But if you have to buy travel insurance that is really expensive, that's going to be a bummer, and that's going to hit your pocketbook, right? So we need to check into that. See if your company covers you for travel insurance, and make sure that travel insurance covers you in case you get infected with COVID, right? We want to make sure that you're good there. And then, does the destination provide good medical assistance? If you do get infected, where you are you going to get good treatment? Because you may not be able to leave the country. They may close the borders or whatever. There's risk of that still. Unlikely now, but if we get a second wave, you never know. How easy is it for you to get back into your home country if you do have symptoms? So that's something else you want to look at. Again, I think it's doable, but we want to look at that and risk at your destination. So overall risk, you want to do a bit of a threat intel, look into that. So not only just is how good is their healthcare provider or infrastructure, but also, how's the hygiene, how's the food? If it's a third world country, that's not so good, right? If you're sick, if it's, North America, Europe, parts of Asia, you're probably, not so bad. So you need to think about that. Think about, if I get sick, what's that look like? Because that's cost. And, unlikely to happen, but if it does, that's going to kill all the benefits that you got from getting good deals. So we want to make sure you keep your costs low and you stay safe and healthy and get home fine, okay? So those are the things I'm looking at right now in this month. Next month, I think it's going to open up and we're going to see new things. As soon as I see something significant, I'm going to make another video for you if you like this video. And just hit the like button down below to tell me if you do. And I'll go through how to get those other deals that I'm seeing. Now, as promised, I want to talk to you about the things that I'm doing right now to get free accommodation. And so that the trick that I'm doing, and I'm not traveling, so how am I getting that? So when I travel, I'm a loyalty member at everything I do. So if I rent a car, I'm a loyalty member and I get loyalty points for the car. If I take a flight, same thing, loyalty points. If I have a hotel, same thing, loyalty points. Why? Because I want to collect those so that I get some residual benefit from that. And some are more than others. Like the rental car, not a lot. Not a lot of benefit there. The flights, again, overall disappointment. Like, sometimes you might get lounge access. which is fine, but I'm never impressed with the lounges. And so for me, you know, I get a little thing on my luggage that says I'm a member with so many miles. It's like, yippee, right? Like, I don't even get priority boarding or anything with my airline. So I fly Air Canada. I'm based out of Canada. So overall, it's been like, yeah, right? But the hotels, on the other hand, and I find there's two main hotel chains. There's the Hilton and the Marriott. And both are good. Both I cannot really complain about. I like the loyalty reward system they have. I like the way it works. And I do fairly well with it, I have to say. I have a Marriott Amex card, American Express, and I use it for shopping. So when I just go to like the grocery store and buy groceries, I use it. When I book my flights, I use it. Any sort of big purchase, I'll make sure that I use it because I get points for that go against my Marriott membership. And that allows me to accrue points that I can then use to buy stays at a Marriott property. And surprisingly, they add up really quick. And when I stay at a Marriott, I get points, which is great. I put the sign on my door that says I don't need any housekeeping. I get more points for that. There's a couple other things that I do that give me more points, just a little bit though, not a lot, but it adds up over time. After years, it adds up. However, just my general grocery shopping with the Amex Marriott card has done me amazingly well. And it's given me free nights that would have cost me, you know, 500 euros per night. I used it once in Paris. I screwed up on my reservations and I had no place to stay. It was during the Paris fashion show. And it was during there was an air show there as well. So every place was sold out. And the guy told me, you'll be lucky to find anywhere to stay. And if you do, it's going to be 1,000 euros. And I was like, oh, geez, I was freaked out. So I brought up my Marriott app, clicked, found a place, and I saw the price. It was 500 euros. I was like, whoa, but I got it with my points that I'd just gotten from shopping. So I normally wouldn't recommend a card or any stuff like that, but I do recommend this one because it has done really well for me. And I think it's worth just at least checking out because that has gotten me tons of free nights. And I really like their benefits. You get like one free night per year once you've reached a certain level. And I think it's much better than both my rental car or my flight loyalty points. So there's that. That's how I do it, and it's working. And I travel quite a bit, but you don't have to travel a lot. All you have to do is use the card to buy stuff. And I think it's better than I have like gas points. I have every type of point you can imagine, and none of them. I have air miles. None of them have ever done anything for me. I never get anything back from them, but this one, I do. So that's it. So hopefully that's useful to you. I hope you check it out, and hopefully you'll like it as much as I do. If you don't, if you think that it's not as good as I think it is, let me know. I'd love to hear your experience on any of these things. If you see deals right now as well that I've missed, please put them in the comments down below, and I'd love to hear about that. All right. Thank you very much. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time.